Well, the decision by David White over 11 years ago to cross the Tasman and look for further experience as far as the harness racing industry is concerned certainly has paid off big time. I caught up with David to discuss his career here in New South Wales, then the move to New Zealand. Well, David, after all these years, good to catch up with you once again, and you must be delighted with the performance in the opening event of Better Than Cash and running second to Pinseeker.
Yeah, we're absolutely thrilled to be back here, and it was a great start to the trip the way the wee horse in the first race went. So it's a massive thrill to be able to travel a couple of lovely horses like we've got and bring them back here.
4 pegs, and then Bob Butt left the peg running and outside the leader then from the last 600. 25-8 the leader, and winner got home, and your fellow battled on very gamely.
Yeah, no, Pinseeker's a quality horse, and he's obviously heading up to Brisbane for the Inter-Dominion, so there's no shame at all in running second to a horse like him, especially with the closing section there. So, it was a great starting point for us, and we look forward to seeing what we can do once we get to Brisbane ourselves.
Yeah, the Rising Sun's the main objective?
Yeah, that's sort of the main target with him. I think he'll acquit himself really well in a race like that, and there's a couple of other 4-year-old races sort of a few weeks after that as well. So, there's a few nice races for him, and looking forward to a successful trip with him.
Tomorrow born, David, but you learnt the trade of harness racing mainly in the Riverina, particularly at Wagga, with your uncle Trevor White, which also means a couple of cousins by the name of Chris Judd and Cam Hart, so it's a very strong family.
Yeah, that's right. We're very lucky, all the three of us. We had a great teacher when we were starting off, just the basic of the horsemanship and all that sort of stuff. The two boys here have been doing a great job. Cameron's leading driver and Chris has got his team flying at the moment. So, we all owe a lot of that to Trevor, and, it's great to see everyone having a bit of success.
Well, you enjoyed a lot of success and had a lot of fun with Trevor with a horse called Hollywood Sign.
Yeah, that's right. We were lucky. He was sort of the first horse I trained myself, and Trevor took over him sort of when I moved up this way. But he did a terrific job for us and won a lot of the country cups around home, which was a massive thrill. To win the hometown cup. It's not an easy thing to do, and it was a massive satisfaction for everyone involved.
Still a couple of races away from your star trotter, Benton Wynn, going around. What an outstanding performer he is on his way to the Inter-Dominion. A gruelling test, the Inter-Dominion distance, but he's proven over 3,200 metres.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've got in our favour. There's probably only 2 or 3 of the horses that have been really tested over that 2-mile distance, and after the 2,700 metre heats as well, that'll be a new thing for a lot of them. So, I think he's one of the leading contenders, and I think he's in a really great spot for tonight as well.
So far, 22 starts for 12 wins and 4 placings, but he's a horse that's had his issues?
Yeah, as a young horse, he just was probably not quite strong enough to really sort of put his best foot forward. He took a wee while, but now the last sort of 18 months he's really strengthened up and developed into a lovely horse.
You're staying with Vic Frost and Gail Geese, and because of the beach work, and when it comes to training horses on the beach, David, as everyone in harness racing knows, not too many better than Vic Frost.
Yeah, no, that's right. We stayed up there last year, and they couldn't have been more helpful. Anything we wanted, anything we needed, a bit of advice or whatever it was, Vic and Gail were just fantastic, and we can't wait to get back up there again and see them this year.
You've enjoyed success at the carnivals. You're wearing a jacket there that says Group 1 winner Major Hot, the Queensland Derby winner. That must have been a wonderful thrill.
Yeah, we're very lucky. It was sort of like a little bit like Better Than Cash this year. It was just sort of a last minute addition to the stable, and for him to race as well as he did and get our first Group 1 winner up there, especially in a race like a Derby, that was a massive thrill, and hopefully we can add to it this year when we get up there.
David, did it surprise you because he spent time with someone you know very well, one of the legends, Paul Fitzpatrick, and he just couldn't crack it for a win? He kept running good races.
Yeah, he ended up running third in the Chariots of Fire, so he was going good races. I don't know whether he really doesn't suit the track here or what it is, but I was a little bit surprised, but it was good to see him run third in the Chariots and show his sort of true worth there.
Yeah, it's only a couple of weeks ago he scored his first win since the Queensland Derby with Jason Grimson.
Yeah, he's just working his way back through, and I sort of expect to see him back up in Albion Park, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes up there, in the next few weeks.
Speaking of the Fitzpatricks, you had the chance to further your career as a youngster with Blake.
Yeah, that's right, and that was sort of my introduction to trotters was with Blake. So it's sort of where I've got my love for the trotters, and it's probably a good thing because it's worked out. We found a fairly handy one now.
What ignited the passion to head over to New Zealand?
It was just when I was coming to the end of my junior driver time here, and it can be quite difficult, to pick up drives sort of outside once you lose your concession claim. So I thought it was a good opportunity just to sort of broaden my experience and meet a few new people. And initially it was just a sort of short-term sort of plan, and the goal was to come back here and sort of get a team of horses around me to train. So one thing led to another over there, and I've been based there 11 years now, and I really enjoy being over there.
And David, of course, you had the chance to then work with Graham and Paul Court of Terror to Love fame.
Yeah, that's right. He was gunning for his fourth cup when I went over there and joined them. He went terrific that day, but only ran fourth. Unfortunately, it would have been a nice piece of history to be involved in if he had won the four. But he was a terrific horse and a fantastic stayer. He never had a whole lot of luck when he came over here, but he was a terrific horse.
July 7, 2019, so we're not far off that celebration. Your first win as a trainer, along with your wife Stacey. You drove also far from True at Rangiora.
Yeah, that was a filly that we sort of purchased as a weanling off Paul and Graham. So it was good, very satisfying to get your first training win sort of with a trotter that you'd had from day one yourself, and developed it. She had a wee issues as well, but she ended up doing a good job. She won 3 races for us, and we've actually got a 2-year-old filly out of her now at home that I quite like, and I think she'll do a good job later in the year.
Your wife Stacey's family also harness racing people?
Yeah. No, they just live and breathe it. They've only been sort of hobby trainers, but both her brothers are involved, and her father's Carl drives as well. So it's just a massive family sort of involvement. For her entire family.
How many horses do you have under your care?
Well, we ended up, it's really only Bet and Win, sort of the only racehorse we've got, and then a 3-year-old filly and a 2-year-old filly, and then we end up sort of branching out a little bit, and we bought another 3 yearlings at the sales this year. So just a small team, but we'll probably be looking to build on that in the future.
One thing you're very keen on as far as being a trainer is concerned is the main point as far as you're concerned is communication with owners.
Yeah, I think these days more so than it's ever been in the past is it's a very key aspect of it. They're paying the bills and they like to know what's happening with their horses, so to be able to communicate that well with them I think is very important. And I'm very lucky that Stacey does a fantastic job. She can do videos and all sorts of things to send to the owners, so I think it's very important, and I'm very lucky that Stacey can sort of do a great job with that.
Family man now, a 2-year-old and 5 months old.
Yeah, I think Stacey's had the sort of tougher job the last few months. I've spent 6 weeks in Auckland, then I was home for a month, and now over here for 5 weeks. So Stacey's definitely had the tougher job the last few months, but she's doing great, and I'm looking forward to them coming over for the Interdom series once we get up to Brisbane. Training
horses, father of 2 young children, married, just to get a chance to play golf?
Not as much as I'd like to sometimes. I did pack the clubs though, so I'm hoping I might get a few rounds in once we get up to Queensland in the warmth.
Well, Dave, it's been great to catch up there. As I mentioned, 11 years. I can't believe that time's gone so swiftly.
Yeah, no, it's flown by for me, and it's great to be back.
Good to see you again, Dave.
Thank you.